All right, Northwoods Cardboard Gang, let's take a look at 5 Pokemon investments that are probably amazing pickups today when it comes down to the current Pokemon market right after this. Alright guys, I'm Andy with Northwoods TCG, and today I'm going to try and help you with your Pokemon single investment journey here in 2023, at least to round out the end of the year. So, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some cards, and these are cards that I'm personally picking up because I think there's some really good value currently in these particular cards, and overall, I think that they're going to do really well in the future, and there's going to be some really great opportunities in each one of these as we move through the list. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and break into the list and get you in going on the investment opportunities with number 5 right here. All right, guys, so a little bit deceiving, but number 5 has got a good reasoning behind it. There's going to be 3 sets of cards in here, and of course, all of these sets come from Scarlet and Violet 151. These are all really good Pokemon single investments. Having the full starter line from Pokemon 151 is not a bad thing. It's a really good thing, in my opinion. And these cards do really well together. They tell a story. They look good. Overall, the value of these, I think, will continue to move up. And we've been seeing some really good ascension in pricing going from here from when it was released. And that's fantastic. That's great to see this kind of gains on a brand new set. The fact that these cards are holding so well is a good sign that there's some really good interest and some really good hype and FOMO behind these particular cards, which, of course, will continue to drive these into the future. So, the one question you have to ask before you go and spend all this money on these cards right now is, are these cards going to get a massive reprint to where we're going to see pricing completely tank on these? I don't think so. I think with a new Shining set coming out with Paldean and Fates, we're going to see more printing of that particular set like we've seen in the past between Hidden Fates and Shining Fates. I think Paldean Fates will probably fall right into that because of all those baby shinies and all those cards inside of there. There's always a chase, and there's always excitement behind that to try and find the cards you're looking for to complete your sets, blah, 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 things like that. I think that Pokemon's going to shift focus onto Paldean Fates and probably not do as much reprinting on 151. Do I think there's going to be reprints? Of course I do. I don't think they're going to let 151 just die and not do anything with it, but I don't think we're going to see these massive reprints that we've been seeing because there's still quite a bit of products still on shelves in places. It's not hard to find Pokemon 151 in the wild. It's still available on a lot of store shelves, and that's a big factor when I'm looking at when to invest into certain cards in this particular set. So I'm going to break this down. There's 3 lines: Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur. Of course, you've got all the cards inside of there. The Charizard line, you got Charizard, Charmeleon, Charmander, Blastoise, Wartortle, and Squirtle, and of course Venusaur, Ivysaur, and Bulbasaur. You've got all these options, so today we're going to break these down high, low, and current of each section of them. So this is going to be the pricing for all 3 cards if you were to buy them as a set, which is what I'm doing, and I highly suggest doing that yourself as an investment because it gives you availability to sell them as a group or individualize them if you want. So we're going to start off with the Charizard. What was the high for the Charizard set? 191.52. So that was the high point of that particular card. The low was at 135.72, and we are currently at 163.84. That just gives you a really good outline for how far these cards have really moved, and overall lets you see that they haven't moved a lot when it comes down to a new set, and we've actually seen a recovery from the lows. We're going to go into the Blastoise line, which is going to be 107.38. We had a low of $61.23, and currently we're at $85.28. Last one, of course, is going to be the Venusaur line. We got $111.52 at a high. We got $63.65 and $81.35 for the current pricing. Once again, these are for the numbers I'm giving you are for all 3 cards as a group if you purchase them all right now on TCG prior for the current, and then what they were for the high in the last year and the low in the last year. So once again, overall, I love the artwork. I love the whole scheme. The starters are going to draw attention, of course, and the new people that came in the Pokemon 151 that had not come in the Pokemon until then are going to be a factor when it comes down to these cards because this is their childhood and this is what they want. So this is one of the sets that I think are really good. Pricing wise is still really good on these particular cards, and as we've seen, the Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur have all continued to march up fairly quickly. So the pricing, unless we get a massive reprint, might come down a little bit if it did it today, but I think these cards are going to continue to move up in value. If we get a reprint, they might retract slightly and then continue up their march in that upward direction. Moving on to number 4. All right, number 4, we got Iono from Paldea Evolved. This is the SIR trainer. Once again, it had a lot of hype and FOMO in Japan. When it came to the English market, it still came out pretty good. It was at a high of about $100.68 on release, and it did really well by not dropping a ton. Overall, this card is a really good artwork. I think it got a lot of hype and FOMO. People remember the fact that Japan was really driving this, and it was really driving the set there, and it brings that attention into the English market, and it's still being watched and still pursued by a lot of people in the current market. The high of this particular one was $100.68. The low was $81.43, and it's already gone up back to $88.24. Overall, we're seeing some good recovery on this particular card. And once again, do I think that there's going to be a large reprint of Paldea Evolved? I think that's the one question that you have to ask. Are we going to see Paldea Evolved get a massive reprint, or is it probably going to be forgotten like we've seen at the first sets of a lot of the beginnings of the era? If that's the case, there's really no reason for this one to get pushed down. If it's already starting to recover and go up, why would it go and get pushed back down? I feel that if we get a small reprint, we might see a small drop, but it'll still recover fairly quickly at this point in time. So once again, Iono is in my number 4 position on the current Pokemon singles investments for 2023. Moving on to number 3. All right, number 3, we're going back to the Sword and Shield era, and that's right, we're going all the way back to Brilliant Stars. We're going to go back to the Charizard V alternate art. Now, this one has not been on a list very often when it comes down to investment, because it's just kind of been a slow track down ever since release. And in the last year, it's been a slow track down, and it's just continued that trend, so we've been waiting for it to find the bottom, and at some point we knew that it would do so. So today we can finally say we may have finally found the bottom, as long as we don't see a massive reprint of Brilliant Stars. And I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to see very many reprints from Sword and Shield in general. So the high for this particular card to last year was $186.06. We went down to a low of $103.30. And this is the nice thing is if you're looking at this for an investment and have been waiting for this card to do this, we are currently at $116.77. So we have finally seen the low spot and have gone back in the upward direction. This is the point on when I really start considering purchasing even these higher dollar cards like this, is now we may have finally seen the bottom. We're a year and a half out from the release of that set, almost 2 years now at this point in time. And with that release being so far out, we haven't had any announcements for reprints for Brilliant Stars. When we hit the 2-year mark, we don't typically hear anything happen beyond that point on these sets. I think now is a really good time to potentially look at purchasing this for your Pokemon investment collection here in 2023. This is a great opportunity. Is this finally going to happen because people are maybe getting comfortable with the fact that Brilliant Stars isn't getting a reprint? It could be a big factor to it too. People are now willing to buy stuff as these sets are going out of rotation and take the opportunities to purchase them now at these extremely low prices. I mean, this Charizard hitting 103 to me is actually very surprising with the hype and FOMO that was behind it. I think that it's a really good artwork. I think the Venusaur Charizard fight and doing the reverse of the promo from back in the day was a great touch. I think it's a good overall presentation for a alternate art from the Sword and Shield era, and I think it will do very well futuristically and continue to go up. I think we finally hit the bottom. I think with Brilliant Stars going out of rotation, this thing is probably going to just start moving in that upward direction, which is great for an investment potential here in 2023. Moving on to number 2. All right, guys, before we go to number 2, just a quick reminder, and if you made it this far and you're finding good information, and I can hopefully earn your subscription. So if you could, hit that subscribe button at this point in the video. Also, hit that like button, help this video out moving forward. And last but not least, be sure you hit that notify so you know when we're doing these videos to give you direction in your Pokemon investment journey. Also, just something I've been trying to do, try and hit that membership button. Once again, that membership button helps out the channel. It's 99 cents. It helps me out. You get some back information where I give you a lot of the data for pull rates and also what's going on in the overall tools and stuff that I present here on the channel. So you get first opportunities to use those. So once again, please consider hit that membership. And without further ado, let's move on to number 2. All right, guys, here we are at number 2. And there are 2 cards in this one. Once again, we're going to double deck this one just to get the most out of this video. And then we're going to talk about the Snorlax and the Squirtle these are both promos from the Pokemon Center. The Snorlax you got in the Pokemon Center Elite Trainer box. The Squirtle, you got it from the Scarlet and Violet 151 Ultra Premium Collection box. So there was only one way to get these, and that was through the Pokemon Center. Now, it's kind of a little bit different story between them, but we're going to get into the first one, which is going to be the Snorlax. Snorlax had a high of $42.38. It had a low of $22.90, and it is currently running at about $35.44. The Snorlax is on the upward trend. It is going back up. It kind of went up, went down, and then kind of is moving back up again in an upward trajectory. Now, the Squirtle, we've seen something a little bit different. When it was released, it was $44.31. It went up to $99.56. Kind of held there for quite a while, just kind of moved a few dollars here and there. And now, because there was another release of those particular promos, so that if you purchase another UPC here in the last week when they had a release, you got the promo again of that Squirtle. We've seen a bit of a retraction when it comes down to the price on that, and we are currently at $51.76. So even though it was plateaued for quite a long time after the release of Scarlet and Violet 151, now we've seen a little bit of a retraction. It's kind of in that downward trajectory, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad time to watch this for an investment. If you're looking at buying this and you want this for your collection, if you want to buy this as your Pokemon investment in 2023, this is going to be the time to be watching this Squirtle. And when you see it start to either A, peak back up, or B, start to flatten out, that might be the best opportunity to purchase that and get it in your collection or get it into your investment then, rather than waiting this out. Because I think once we see that low point and it starts to go the other direction, it will start to go back up and kind of recover from that. I think that there's a lot of people wondering how many of these entered the market. And when there's that questioning and when you start to think that there could be a lot of them, you tend to start selling and backing down because of how much damage it could do to your investment. So I think the people who had them at 99 are now selling out just to get rid of them in case there's a large number crunch and we start to see a drop in the price. But I think that if you are looking at this for an investment, this is going to be a great opportunity to potentially watch this and grab it at the next lowest point that we're probably going to see on this particular promo. Now, without further ado, let's head over to number one. All right, guys, thank you for joining me at number one. And today we're going to be having a little bit of a reminder. Hit that subscribe button, guys. It's greatly appreciated. Hit that like button on the video if you've made it this far and I've brought you good information. Greatly appreciated. Now, with that being said, we're going to talk about number one. And this is the one that I've been picking up. I just bought two of them myself just today. This is a new purchase. Overall, I think that there's going to be some really good opportunities on this, and I think it's going to go up. It's starting to grow on me more and more. And overall, I was really hesitant about this Charizard. It was very, very, kind of offbeat for me. And this is going to be the Obsidian Flame Charizard. Now, the Obsidian Charizard was kind of a hit or miss. It was the SAR from this particular set. It was not well perceived because, of course, the whole crystallized, terrestrialized version of these Pokemon just don't seem to hit as well at home. And so, overall, we've seen this Charizard just kind of drop in price. When it first was released, it was about $229.99, and we've just seen it drop all the way down to about $55.82. Now, the real question is do you think that Obsidian Flame is going to get a massive reprint? A large reprint that's going to add a large number of these Charizards back into the system? Once again, I don't think so. There's so much of it sitting around. There's so much on shelves. There's so much availability to this particular set. Why would someone want to go and reprint this if they're just going to flood the distributors and flood the stores again with more of a product that's really not moving all that quick? But the good news is that this Charizard is starting to recover. That's right, we're seeing another one from Obsidian Flames kind of starting to pull up a little bit in Scarlet and Violet. As I said, as we get further in Scarlet and Violet, people are going to start showing interest in this, and I think this is another one that's kind of showing it. Right now, the current value of this is $61.29. So once again, we've seen that upward movement, we've seen that down, it kind of flattened, bounced a little bit, and now it's kind of moving up again. So once again, great opportunity to possibly buy this at its potential low. Right around here between that $35 and $61, I think is right where we're going to see for a low price on this. We might see a $50 at one point if you were to really watch it and hyperanalyze it. But I think overall this Charizard is going to start moving up. I think this is a good time to buy in on it. I am fairly confident myself that I don't think we're going to see any massive reprints of Obsidian Flame that's going to flood the shelves with more of these Charizards, because we usually don't see that with the first couple sets of Pokemon just in the new eras. We just don't see that many reprints of these particular sets because people need to grow on it, game players need to find out how to use the mechanic, and if the mechanic is going to beat the last generation of Pokemon, and it's going to take a little bit of time. And these sets typically just get one good massive print at the beginning, and then just slowly dwindle out. I think that's exactly what we're going to see with this particular set with Obsidian Flame. We might see a small ETB reprint, or maybe a small booster box reprint, but I don't think we're going to see any like complete flooding of the market where these Charizards are going to just all of a sudden be everywhere and the value is going to sink. Overall, I think that this has hit probably its low point, and from now on, I think it's going to start moving in that upward direction, which makes it a good time to be watching it for your Pokemon investments here in 2023 in singles. So definitely keep your eye on it. Let me know if you guys think that this is a good list in general. Let me know if this is something that you guys really are interested in. Is this kind of the videos you want to see? More of these investments talking about sealed product and, of course, singles. And tell me, do you guys want me to continue to push through and find more of these singles that are good for your Pokemon investments here in 2023 going into 2024? I know it's hard to believe. We're already at the end of the year, and we're coming into that end of the season time where we'll be looking at some other information. But hopefully it's some good information. If it was, be sure you hit that subscribe. Hopefully you hit that notify so you know when we're doing new videos. And last but not least, hit that like button, help the channel out, and of course help this channel move forward. Other than that, we'll see you next time here on Northwoods TCG.